All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are going to recap the National League wildcard games from last night, go through the scores with that. And yeah, but again, before I do that, once again, to donate or tip to the show, get your comments recognized, make sure to go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show. And for bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. And that's where you can find all the exclusive content, for my podcast, the baseball podcast, and for the other podcasts that we have, the fantasy football, college football, and basketball. That's where you can find all the exclusive content with that. So now that we got that said, let's get into the third part of the show, which is the National League wildcard recap. So you had the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. It was the game that started first, and then you had the Marlins and the Phillies. Now the Brewers got off to a hot start. They were up 3-0 after the second inning, and you had Fought going for the Diamondbacks, who is a rookie, not didn't have a good first season. Finished with a 3-9 record, a 5.72 ERA. But the Diamondbacks had to start him because of Kelly and Zach Gallen, being on short rest. So I guess they didn't want to, start them. So they put Fought in to start game one. And yeah, it didn't get off to a good start. Bottom of the first, Carlos Santana had an RBI single. Tyrone Taylor, he had a 2-run home run that put them up 3-0, the Brewers. So yeah, it didn't look good in the beginning. But then the Brewers did not score again. They did not score again for the rest of the game. Then in the top of the third, Corbin Carroll, who's up for National League Rookie of the Year, hit his first postseason home run, a 2-run home run that got the Diamondbacks within one, and then Kentel Marte homered to tie the game at 3, and that was in the top of the third. Then Gabriel Moreno homered in the top of the fourth to make it 4-3, and then Christian Walker had a 2-run double in the top of the ninth, and that was important insurance runs to put the Diamondbacks up 6-3, and that's all she wrote. Brewers lose a tough game at home, and now they are facing elimination. And I said I like the Diamondbacks in the series, because I figured, listen, you lose game one, but then you got your two best starters going after that, and this was off of Corbin Burns, who was going for the Brewers, and yeah, he only pitched 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and he gave up 3 home runs. He was responsible for that. Williams gave up the other 2 runs in the ninth inning. So yeah, he was responsible for that. But I mean, yeah, other than that, the Brewers bullpen did pitch pretty well. It was really just Williams. He was really their only hiccup there. But yeah, the Brewers, they got off to that good start, and then they just didn't do anything after that. Christian Yelich had a hit. Contreras had 2 hits. Santana had the RBI single in the first. Frelick had 2 hits. Adames had 3 hits. Donaldson had 2 hits. Taylor had the hit, the 2-run home run. But yeah, they just could not get anything going. And yeah, and then for the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll had 2 hits, so he went 2 for 3. Marte went 1 for 5. Christian Walker went 3 for 4. Moreno went 1 for 4. Longoria went 1 for 4, and he also had a very nice play that saved the Diamondbacks, because runs were going to come across on that. And you kind of forget about Evan Longoria. 37 years old, still playing the hot corner, and yeah, he made a really nice play to save the game. I forget what inning that was in. If I can see if I can look for it. It was late. It was later in the game. I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see if I can find it. And yeah, so this one says Josh Donaldson grounded out, because it was a line drive that Longoria caught, and yeah, so it was in the bottom of the 5th. So Tyrone Taylor lined into a double play. So Longoria made the play and threw her to second base to get the out, and that ended the inning. And that was a big play in the game. You know, and that's huge. You got to get good. And listen, the Rays could have used Evan Longoria yesterday, but that's the other thing too. Is you got to make good plays in these games too. I mean, every play is critical. You know, especially obviously this series. You know, it's the best 2 or 3. So, yeah. But that was a big play in the game. But this is what everybody talks about with the Brewers is they have the pitching. It's just the hitting is the problem. And that kind of reared its head again yesterday. You score 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and then you don't do anything after that. And the Diamondbacks, chipped away, and they came back, and they took the lead, and they took the game. And I had the Diamondbacks winning the series, but I had to go in 3 games. I had the Brewers taking game 1. They got Gallen and Kelly pitching games 2 and 3. So I thought, hey, the Diamondbacks are going to take it in 3 games. But they end up taking game 1. And now you got your best starter pitching today. So you got to like the Diamondbacks' chances tonight. And also because Brandon Woodruff was ruled out for the rest of the playoffs. And that's the Brewers' number 2 starter. So odds are kind of stacked up against the Brewers right now. So we'll see what happens today. I don't know. They still didn't have a starter announced, but let's see. Yeah, so so now Peralta's going to be pitching tonight. So, yeah, it's a big game for the Brewers, so we'll see what happens. But like I said, I had the Diamondbacks getting past the first round, and right now that's looking good. So, yeah. And then, so far I'm doing good in the National League side of things. So we move on to the next game, Phillies and the Marlins. And the Phillies took that game last night, winning 4-1 over the Marlins. Zach Wheeler pitched very well. Luzardo picked up the loss. Kimbrel got the save. So Wheeler went 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. Alvarado had 2 strikeouts. He pitched an inning. He got the hold. Hoffman pitched a third of an inning. So he gets a hold, and Kimbrel gets the save. So the bullpen pitched well for the Phillies. And, they got 4 runs. Alec Boehm, bottom of the 3rd, he had an RBI double. Bryson Stott had a single in the bottom of the 4th, put them up 2-0. Christian Pache, he singled, score a run, so that led to it being 3-0 Phillies. Brian De La Cruz got the Marlins on the board, making the game at 3-1, top of the 7th. And then Castellanos doubled in the bottom of the 8th, and that led to the Phillies getting their 4th run. And I think that was the run that Bryce Harper went through the stop sign from the third base coach, and he scored. So, yeah, Phillies end up winning 4-1. Look at the box score there. Schwarber, sorry, my dad's doing work downstairs, as usual, with the house. That's why you might be hearing some loud noises there. So, Schwarber went 1 for 4. Trey Turner went 2 for 3. Boehm went 1 for 4. Harper went 1 for 4. Real Muto 1 for 4. Castellanos 2 for 4. Stott 1 for 4. Pache 1 for 2. Marsh came in as a pinch hitter and subbed in left field. He was 0 for 2, and Rojas was 1 for 3. But yeah, the Phillies really didn't have to do that much. The Marlins really just couldn't get anything going against Zach Wheeler, which you kind of figured. And listen, unfortunately for the Marlins, they were a great story this year, and it's awesome that they were able to make the playoffs. But I think with the Phillies, you're just running into a better team, and the home field advantage in Philadelphia is incredible. And I don't really see the Marlins winning this series, unfortunately. So I think I think that it's pretty much done for them. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they had 7 hits. I mean, they did get a decent amount of hits. Josh Bell had 3 hits. Rise had went 1 for 4. Soler had a rough night, 3 strikeouts, 0 for 4 on the day. Jazz Chisholm went 0 for 4. Jake Berger had a hit. De La Cruz had their only RBI. Sanchez went 1 for 2. Birdie went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Yeah, just didn't really get anything going. And Luzardo, he only went 4 innings, gave up 8 hits, 3 earned runs. The bullpen did give up 1 run, and that was the Castellanos double, but everybody else kind of did well. O'Kirky gave up that run. He got charged with that, but everybody else pitched well, so yeah, I mean, for the Marlins, it's going to be tough. Now you got Aaron Nola pitching tonight for the Phillies, and, Aaron Nola's kind of one of those Jekyll and Hyde pitchers, but did have if we go to his postseason stats from last year, because I know they'll probably have him up. So in the postseason, well, he actually went 2-2 with a 4.91 ERA. But he was very good last year in some games in the postseason. So actually, let's see if I can go through him specifically. Yeah, I mean, he had the one game last year. He was 1-0. He went 6 innings. That was against the Braves. The league championship series. Yeah, so against the Padres last year, 0-1 with an 11.57 ERA. So yeah, he only went 4 2/3, gave up 6 runs. And he also had, and then he had an 8.64 ERA in the World Series. I don't know why. I thought he pitched. I guess in the wild card series, he pitched better last year. He went 6 2/3 there. So I guess, yeah, it was the championship series and the World Series that kind of like inflated his numbers. The first 2 rounds he was good. Last 2 weren't. But then again, it all goes back to what I was saying about him being kind of a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher. So we'll see what happens tonight. I think the Phillies get it done. I just think they're the better team, unfortunately. But we'll see. Maybe the Marlins could prove us wrong. But I mean, the Phillies' home field advantage is also just incredible too. Now that the Phillies are good again, Citizens Bank Park, now it's looking like it was when they were good, in the early 2010s. So yeah, but I guess I really just remember the first 2 rounds for Nola. So and then the Marlins, they have Garrett pitching tonight. So we'll see what happens, but I kind of lean towards the Phillies. So the National League side of things, right now, my predictions are looking good. It's the American League side of things that is not looking good right now. But and listen, again, as a Yankee fan, it's the Rays and the Blue Jays that I picked, and they're facing elimination. So am I going to be upset if they don't move on? Not necessarily, but I mean, I'm not going to be. I mean, if they move on, if they somehow come back, if they come back and move on to the next round, I'm not going to be, celebrating, of course. But, and one of those teams is going to end up playing the Astros. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the National League wild card side of things. We'll see what happens today, of course. But, obviously teams are facing elimination. Rays, Blue Jays, Brewers, and the Marlins. And, right now, yeah, the Rays were the only home team that, well, actually, no. The Rays and the Brewers, they were the home teams that lost. So, obviously, you got to protect your home field. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. So with that, we're going to take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we will discuss the wild card game 2 preview. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.